we all, by virtue of being human, have natural rights, a la John Locke. But our civil rights are the result of a social compact that citizens make mutually by coming together in a society. You and I, if we become naturalized citizens, we become part of this social compact. The rights of the American Constitution apply only to US citizens. There's no such thing as an alien having constitutional rights, whether First Amendment or Second Amendment or any other. They don't have those rights. This is not to say they have no rights at all. I'm simply saying they don't have constitutional rights. Now, Trump, in my view, defends a certain Americanism that is very cosmopolitan, very diverse, and driven by immigrants. But part of his point is it violates that pact to allow unlawful entry that jumps the fence, so to speak, and then proclaims indignantly the same rights as everybody else. That is actually a kind of deceit being foisted on our system. And it's putting us in the position of being the reluctant expellers of people who don't belong in our club. We never agreed to let them in. They actually kind of broke their way in, you might say, and are now insisting that they are indistinguishable from every other immigrant who has actually come a completely different way. So to me, the difference between the legal and the illegal is critical here. Now, this is not to say that we don't have any compassion or even moral obligations to refugees, but again, these have to be subordinate to security interests of the country. I mean, think back to John Locke. Why do we have a government? Primarily to protect us from foreign and domestic thugs. That's the government's first job. No other job is important if it isn't doing that job. So Trump, I think, is on very strong ground in saying things like, you know, I'm going to put security first. I'm going to insist upon real vetting. Now, I teach as part of my community service Hispanic adults English. There is fear among them. Where are they getting this fear? They're getting it from Univision and Telemundo. Because Jorge Ramos and all his buddies are scaring the immigrants and basically saying things like, make sure you carry your belongings in a backpack because immigration might be waiting for you when you show up at Walmart. This is not happening, this is not true, but the fear is part of a political weapon that's being used right now against Trump. So again, what will Trump actually do? We'll wait and see. But so far, to me, Trump has done nothing. I don't think he will do anything. I feel no sense of fear as an immigrant. And the crackdown on illegals pales before what Obama was doing systematically. Part of what happens in our politics is because we think Obama's one kind of a guy. Obviously, whatever he was doing is fine. Trump is a really bad guy, so even if he's doing the same thing, it's Trump. No, you kind of have to look at what's actually happening and how it's going to play out. So the bottom line of it is, it seems to me that I voted for Trump, or at least I would have voted for Trump if I could have voted. If Trump pardons me, I will be able to vote. Then I can vote for him next time. But the point I want to make is, to me...
Well, what I think is unfair to you for the present.
Well, thank you. But my point was just this. To me, there are two views of America. And very briefly, I will call them the ladder and the rope. Ladders of opportunity, that's the Republican Party. You climb the ladder. The government has a job to hold the ladder. The rope is the Democratic approach, which is basically, we Democrats at the top of a tall building, we're going to let down a rope. You hang on. We'll pull you up. So the rope is more appealing than the ladder because the ladder involves work. You have to climb. The rope, you only have to hold on. But it dawned on me early in my career that while the rope is easier, the truth of it is you're always beholden to the guy holding the rope. If he lets you go, down you go. And then I noticed that lots of people who are being pulled up never get pulled all the way up. They never become self-sufficient. They're always hanging. And then it crossed my mind that maybe the people who are holding the rope prefer them to remain hanging because they remain in a position of beholdenness politically. And if they ever scrambled onto the shore, they might dust off and walk off. Who needs the Democratic Party? So it may be, at the end of the day, and this is what I tell my students as well, you have to choose. Do you want the ladder or do you want the rope? And at the end of the day, we have to make our own choice. Listen, guys,